Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beautiful Tuesday. I cannot wait to talk about our guest, but make sure you stick around afterwards for the Hindsight, where I obviously am the one that pulls my producer Jeph down with me and we talk about the episode. You're not going to want to miss that. We answer fan questions and this is just going great. And we talk about a lot of fun stuff. And if you don't know what that is, you guys can send your emails and questions and things to the sackoffshow@gmail.com. We read them all. And that is one of the things that we do afterwards, which is actually talk about the fans and the fan questions and things like that. It's really fun. So make sure to check that out. My guest today is one of the most fantastic, fun people I know. I am talking to my friend, Rebecca Mader. If you don't know Rebecca, she is the Wicked Witch of the West. And Once Upon a Time, she was in Lost and she is in Fire Country. She's a fantastic actress. She's a super, super funny person. She is really just a joy to be around. I first met Rebecca at a convention where we were seated next to each other and we talk about it, but things go pretty crazy and awry. I think that she was 8 months pregnant at the time. And there was like some stop, dropping, and rolling involved. It's a crazy story. You're going to want to hear it. And we really just talk about life and work and motherhood and comedy. And we just have a really great conversation. So if you're a fan of Once Upon a Time or Lost, you're going to love this. If you don't know Rebecca, you're still going to love it because she is a real good time. And I am going to get out of your way. I am so excited for you to get to know my friend, Rebecca Mader, a little bit more. Enjoy. It's so good to see you.
Hi, I'm so happy.
I haven't seen you forever.
It's so funny because right before you invited me to do this show, I had the memory. I was talking about you because that's what I do every day. And I was talking about you to someone and I was like, God, I really liked her. Why did I like her? And I thought we were laughing so much. I'm like, where was that? And I had this whole montage in my brain of you and me on a plane, and I lost my favorite curling iron on that flight. So every time it fell out of my bag in the overhead compartment. So every time I go to curl my hair with the wrong curling iron, I was like, Katee was there. It's such a weird association. Anyway, I'm obsessed with you, and I'm a huge fan, is what I'm trying to say.
And curling irons, like you find the right one, they're like a pair of jeans.
Right.
I mean, this barely gets washed. I mean, the less washed it gets, the better it looks. I feel like I'm one of those people that if my hair is dirty, like when I book a job and they're like, tell me about your hair. And I tell them and they go, can you not wash it for a couple days? Sure. I will do that.
Preferable.
I will do that. It is.
Way more low maintenance.
A lot more low maintenance. But I remember when I think of you, I tell so many people of the story because I think it was when we first met, correct me if I'm wrong, when you were very pregnant. And we were at that convention where they let off the hand poppers.
Oh my God. No, this couple got engaged at a voiceover. I think it was a voiceover actress had a table further down. And I think a couple got engaged in front of her and she knew it was going to happen and that they were going to do a giant explosion in a public arena. Like anyone for like some terrorism. I mean, the whole room screamed. People came running. The lady that was helping me at my convention table is in the military. So she's like, shoot her! And dove through the air on top of me and my pregnant belly and kind of took me down with her to the floor. And I'm like I thought we were under, this woman was going to take a bullet for me at a convention. Yeah. I've loved her ever since, obviously. But that was so traumatic. And then my uterus started contracting and I thought I was going to have a miscarriage. Oh my God. Good memory. That was
it was awful. I remember hitting the ground because it sounded like 2 bullets
A
that had
gun.
gone
A
off.
pop, 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 pop. Yeah,
It
totally.
did. And everyone just went boom to the
Vroom.
ground. And I immediately started searching for exits. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
where did I come in? I came in over there. Okay, I can stay on the ground. And then it was like within seconds, people realized what it was, but it was terrifying.
It was
For
like,
like a minute.
congratulations.
I know.
Really
I'm
happy for the couple. Thanks for that.
so happy for you too. It took you a while to like for your stomach to relax. I remember.
Yeah, the baby was not pleased.
No. I wouldn't imagine you were either. Was that your first child or your second?
That was my first baby. So I had Milo, who's now almost 5. So he came out. That was the last convention I did
Yes.
before being a mum and before COVID. So it was my last time. So there was just so much change after that. And then I obviously didn't do an in-person convention for ages after that. But yeah, that was my first one. And then Milo was just 4 months old in March 2020 when the world closed. And then here I am, pandemic's over and now I've got 2 of them. And you have 2 now, don't you? Congratulations.
I do. I have 2.
Yay!
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. 2.5 and almost 3 months.
She's in the
Crazy.
thick of it right now.
It is like this moment. Every like stage of parenthood, I feel like I've got before. I'm like, I have this. I have this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like everyone says 2 is harder, please. Like, please. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is
know.
not like twice as hard. It's like 3 times as hard.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's so funny because the baby phase feels really hard because it can be kind of insane and dark and weird and lonely and like, oh, it was such a hard time. And then you have another one and the baby's just this blob on the carpet doing nothing. So I really didn't have to do much. And then I'm over here with an almost 2-year-old screaming, having meltdowns. I'm like, why did I think that was so much harder? And you're always looking at the 2 different ages, trying to sort of comprehend. And then I feel like with the older one, you're like, oh, I've got this phase licked. And just as you get really good at it, they change. And then they're a completely different person. You're like, oh, I was getting really good at this age and now they've gone to become something else. It's absolutely insane. And in the beginning as well, like having like you, like mine are 22 months apart. How far apart are yours in age?
Oh my God. 24, 30? 2.5. I mean,
Close.
they're
Close.
29. 29.
Okay, like 2 and a bit. It's a bit
Yeah.
more civilized. Mine,
Yeah.
mine were all really way too close in age, but it was COVID. What else am I gonna do?
It is what it is. So
There's nothing else to do in the pandemic.
were you filming and then you got shut down?
No. I was just making a person and then got shut down. So Once Upon a Time ended in 2018. And then after that, I got pregnant and had, and had all the pregnancy and stuff before the pandemic. So then I had Milo and, at first I just really wanted to hibernate and hunker down and just blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm sort of coming out of the trenches a little bit. Maybe I could do an audition. And then the world went, no, you need to sit back down. I was like,
It's like,
oh no, okay. And then like a whole pandemic and then a whole nother pregnancy and then a whole strike. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
You feel like I feel so much of how you feel. I feel it in my bones. But the industry is weird. It's weird right now. And I'm a little weirded out. I don't know. Were you already conscious of I'm having children? This is, the industry has not been too kind to women of a certain age that we, both are sort of like find ourselves going into, I guess. I hate to put you in my category, but I find myself in that where I'm like, okay, like this is that, like women have talked about this for forever, that this is like that thing. Did you have that like idea of like, I know I want to do this, but like, what am I doing? Like, as far as your career is concerned, what was the thought process?
Not really for me. And I understand what you're saying, but I think this is going to sound silly, but my character on Once Upon a Time was mostly single and sort of ageless. And I always sort of tend to play terrible people that are single. So I feel like my sort of viability or who I end up playing are these sort of ageless, weirdo sociopaths that those roles could be 20 or 50. Nobody really cares.
Right.
Nobody really cares if you look right and you sound, I don't know, it's very odd. So I don't feel like my age has sort of like changed how I feel about my career, just in terms of the types of characters that I play,
Mm.
if that sort of makes sense. Because I've never been like playing someone lovely who's like the hero and like the lead, like cutie pie, like, or like,
No,
you know,
I've
part of
never.
like, I mean, I've never been like
Like the
part of the lead.
ingenue?
Yeah, or no, or not even that, or even like, you know, on shows that have like relationships. I've never been like part of like a relationship that everybody shipped. I always thought I had been like a standalone, typically a standalone villain in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I even just played last week. I played like a horrible person, and it was so much fun. I love the kind of characters that I play because, you know, being a token bitch is really quite a delight for me because, you know, you have to be nice in real life. But in terms of like thinking like, oh, what's the next job going to be and things like that, timing wise, it all kind of really worked out well because, you know, Once Upon a Time ended when it was supposed to, whatever. I had zero control over that. But I did sort of express to my team, hiya, I'm not getting any younger. So I do want to put my energy and focus into creating a family. And I do want to have two because I was sort of getting some auditions in the pandemic. No, it was before the pandemic. I was getting some auditions and I was passing because I was thinking, if I do that, I'm never going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I thought I never want to be someone that cancels, reschedules, or doesn't go to things. It's just the Britishness in me. I can have a panic attack. I don't know how to be on time. I don't know how to be late. I'm always early. Like I'm very like English and German. So when
I
I
love the
worry when
fact they
people
were
think,
like, Rebecca's already here. She's in the other room for the podcast recording. I literally said, bless her.
but that I'm such a dork like that. I'm like, ready with my notepad and my pen. Like I'm such a dork. Um, But yeah, so Once Upon a Time ended and that was all kind of like perfect. And then it just became all about being pregnant. And in the pandemic, you know, the pandemic felt like a little bit of a gift. Like, yes, it was depressing and sad and the borders were closed and I felt trapped from my family and that was all horrible. And obviously the death and destruction to people's lives, obviously. But the blessing that I tried to find in it was that it just forced me to hunker down with my baby. Milo and I have an incredible bond and a relationship, like we're soulmates. And then I went and got pregnant again because I had nothing else to do. And Bailey wouldn't be here and wouldn't be Bailey if not for COVID. She literally is my COVID baby. And they're close in age and they're best mates. And my team would always say to me on phone calls, like just to check in and say, hi, I miss you, I love you in the pandemic. You know, they would be like, you couldn't have picked a better time to bang out a couple of kids, mater. Like, yeah, no, not bad. Really good timing. So now I'm sort of coming out of it. And I feel like for the first time in a really long time, I really feel like I've come back into my own body and it's fucking amazing. I haven't felt like me in my own skin in so long. And to go back to work and remember, oh, you are actually an actor. You can act still. It's still there. There's still roles. Why not you? Like, yes, the industry's different, but why can't the universe create the perfect thing? And I've just really tried to stay in the positive mindset as the world and the industry is constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah.
And trying to shut out the negativity, or if a friend wants to complain about the industry and who's getting hired and who's not, I just try and like exit that conversation and just focus on staying in the positive because I believe, you know, in law of attraction. And
Yeah.
I was staying really positive. I was like, oh, August is, I mean, the industry's already dead. And I got a job in August. I'm like, see,
Yeah.
stay positive. You never know. You never
Yeah.
know kind of what could happen. And I always believe what's meant for me won't pass me by, and likewise for everybody else. So I feel, even though, you know, the world is we're in the upside down. All right. But
Yeah.
I'm trying not to watch the news too much and just try and stay in my own, you know, informed enough, but not like consuming it so much that I'm then like in a horrible headspace and I don't want to play with my kids, you know?
I turned on the news last night for like 20 minutes. And within 10 minutes, I was swearing at the TV. So I was like, I need to go to bed. Like, we're done. This is why we don't This is why we don't turn the TV on in our household.
Yep.
This is why we don't watch the news, because it's, it's just like so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I find that, I saw this thing the other day. It was a study that was done where it was talking about negativity, and I forget the percentages, but it was something like they put two groups of people together, and or multiple groups of people. And some of the groups they gave a negative person, and some of the groups they didn't. And the difference between the groups that had the negative people, not only did they work slower, not only were they not right as much, but the overall well-being of the groups that had a negative person in the group was like super depressed. And the groups that had just an overall sense of positivity got things done faster. The camaraderie was better between the groups, like all of this. And I firmly believe that like that negative thinking is just absolutely detrimental to success and well-being.
I saw that study. I think, was it on Instagram?
It was probably on Instagram.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
And I went through, I think it was like a slide or something, and like it had all the percentages of like what percentage, productivity and morale dissipated even just with one negative person in each kind of case study. And I thought, God, that's just so true. And I've really tried to be cognizant of that over the past few years, and just in terms of, you are a sort of sum of the people that you spend the most time with. So trying to be as mindful as possible about who and what I'm consuming on a daily basis, whether it be social media or TV or friends and family or people that just make you feel like crap. And the easiest determination for me is just to say, after having spent time with Katee Sackhoff, do I feel A, better, or B, worse? It's really very simple.
Let me know.
I already feel better.
Let me know. You know what's funny is
I'll text you later.
Let me know. Could you imagine if you were like, it's B? It's actually shifted. It's B. I'm sorry.
Fail.
We'll never do that again. I actually just let go of my manager of 27 years.
Oh, wow.
27 years. Like, this person has been with me since I was 17 years old. I was a child.
Oh my God.
Because the relationship and the negativity was too much. It was just too much. And I knew for my own mental health that I needed to remove myself from that relationship, no matter what it looked like on the other side. It was just like, this has to happen. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But on the other side of it, the lightness that I felt after I made the decision and the subsequent 3 months since then have changed my mental health. Just changed my mental health.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Good for you. Breaking up is like the hardest thing to do. Ending it, being the one to end a relationship, whether it be business, friendship, romantic, it's just to be the person to make the decision and to feel like all the consequences are going to become because of you and your decision is so hard. So well done.
It's so hard. When you were in the pandemic, like, what was it that kept you sane? Was there anything that because that was a hard time, and we're just slowly, there are people that are still sort of, what did you find yourself doing during that time? Because you obviously making babies.
Yeah. Well, the beginning just felt like a weird K-hole of, babydom, which it does anyway. It is isolating because you're not really going anywhere, and going anywhere is such a nightmare. Just getting out of the house. Like Milo, looking back, you don't realize it when you're in it, but he was a very sort of grizzly, cryy baby in the very beginning, which I didn't really realize until I had another one that was a little different. I'm like, I guess that was kind of hard because I couldn't even go for a walk around my neighborhood just to be outside in a pandemic, because he would just sometimes just lose it for no reason and force me back home, and we'd come back in and he'd stop. And I'm like, there's literally nothing to do in the world. Can you please let me just go for a walk
around the
please?
block?
I don't want to go for a walk. And he just wouldn't. And it was like, I felt almost like I was in prison, like baby prison. Like, I love my baby, but it was really intense. And he would do that to me in Target. I mean, hello, that is my church. And it's like, we'd be walking between the car, fine, through the automatic doors. Hey, I'm like, well, how do you know we're in Target? It's like, but like a classic dude ruining shopping for a bird. That's what it was like. You know, the bloke's like, oh, I don't want to go
Why
in
do I
here.
gotta be here?
And he's still like that to this day. I don't want to go to the shops, mummy. It's boring. I'm like, it can't always be all about you all the time. Target was definitely important to my mental health in the pandemic because there was just nothing to do and nowhere to go. And Mark, my husband, was very busy in the pandemic with working from home. So what I would do is I would put Milo to bed early, you know, like just before 7, and then tell Mark bye. And then I would drive to Target and put my face mask on and my headphones and kind of just dance around Target in the aisles and go clothes shopping, roll some calls. Yeah. One in every color. Spent a lot of money in there in the pandemic, that's for sure.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Don't worry, it's only 90 seconds. Hey everyone, make this fall the tastiest season yet with farm fresh produce and easy autumn-inspired recipes delivered straight to your door with HelloFresh. I love HelloFresh. We have used HelloFresh many, many, many times in our lives, not just now that they're sponsoring an episode. One of the things that is the hardest for us as parents of children is trying to figure out what we're going to eat that night. And we always do it at the last minute, and it's awful. So what HelloFresh does is it takes that guesswork out. They deliver all of the ingredients straight to your door. It comes with the portion size of the meats and the proteins and the veggies and the sauces and the spices and all of that stuff. It comes in a box with a recipe card. And the coolest thing about these recipe cards is that they're so easy to follow. Just last night, our family had the turkey ragu spaghetti, and our daughter, who is 3 years old, helped us cook. Right now, you get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free Katee. That's FREEKATEE. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only, varies by plan. But that is 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/free Katee. FREEKATEE. America's #1 meal kit. I want to apologize if my screen keeps freezing.
That's okay.
Okay, if it's freezing on your side, I can still see you, and we're slowly figuring it out. I don't know what's happening, so I want to apologize. But my husband keeps running in. I keep texting him and saying, "Oh,
I'm frozen."
And he keeps running
Let
in
it go.
and fixing me. He keeps fixing me. So you have a habit. I know you can't see me. But you have a habit, or you have this wonderful skill, this like amazing thing where your characters are not, when you book them seemingly on paper, are not too necessarily meant to be around as long as they are. And then I feel like you have this wonderful staying power. What is that?
I like to say it's like a really bad fart. It just won't quite leave the room. So I always cut to the cranberries and say about myself, do you have to let it linger? Like you can't get rid of Mater. Once she's in, she's in. Like that bitch, she's still a recurring. Like, fuck, should we just make her a regular at this point? Why is she still here? It's literally just for like the free cheese at craft service. I just love being on set. You can't get rid of me. I'm like, so this is a guest star, so when do I sign for the series regular role? And they're like, go away. They tried to kill me like 100 times on Once Upon a Time. I'm like, I'm back.
How many shows I mean, honestly, how many times has that happened?
I don't know how many times I died and came back to life. Yeah. Even on Lost, they killed me off and then they ended up bringing me back. I was really hurt that they killed me off because they were supposed to like upgrade me to series regular at one point and then didn't. And then upgraded the 3 other characters that I had arrived with except for me. And then tried to like put me in a smaller trailer, and it all just got really sad really quick. Like, we don't know what to do with your character. And the previous writer's strike in 2008, like, we never gave you your backstory, and now we just don't even really know what to do with you. So we're just going to slowly write you out. And then they basically gave me loads of nosebleeds and a love story with Faraday. I'm like, That's why I came here, to have like a physics boyfriend and a nosebleed. I was really hurt. So anyway, I decided, I'm like, you know what? The universe this is all just lessons. I'm meant to do something else. And I tried to just turn the end of the experience into something beautiful. So I flew my mum and dad out from England, and I said, listen, if you want to do a set visit, now's the time to do it, because I ain't gonna make it, girl.
Yeah.
So
You're
they
like,
all
she
came.
said, one too many nosebleeds, folks.
Yeah. They came out, and then I decided to just like crush the death episode. And it's like, I'm really proud of the work that I did when I died. But then loads of time goes by, and I was doing a couple of independent movies, one with Antonio Banderas in New Mexico, and then another movie with Uma Thurman, and I was doing them like almost back to back. And I was in bed in New York in like an Airbnb, and my phone rang. They're like, hey, Rebecca, I've got Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof for you. I'm like, what? Like, it's a long time later.
Yeah.
And I'm like in bed. I'm like, all right, guys. They're like, hey, Mater, congratulations on your 2 movies. Do you want to come back and do one more episode? And I just said, what, for more nosebleeds? And they went, they said, no, you get to make out with Sawyer. And I'm like, when do I leave? They're like, well, we're going to do like a day in between your 2 movies. So I quickly flew there, made out with Josh Holloway, then like flew back. I was like,
he was dreamy. I remember, because the manager that I let go of represented Josh for a while.
Oh, how funny.
So I remember having a dinner with him and being like, oh my God, he is attractive. So interesting.
So is his wife and kids. He's got a beautiful wife, and they're all just like, they all just look like a Ralph Lauren campaign. They're all just stunning.
They do. Is he married to Jessica?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was at the dinner. They're, just wonderful people.
Her.
Yeah. Did you work with Terry O'Quinn?
Oh yeah. Ugh. I love that man.
Talk about dreamy.
Oh God. There was a moment. It was actually my first day at work on Lost, and I had just watched 3.5 seasons on DVD, because that's how long ago this was. DVD that I bought from Barnes and Noble, okay, pre-streaming, to prepare for this role, right? So I'd gone from like, I think I watched until the end of season 3, and then obviously like season 4 hadn't come out yet, and I was coming in halfway through season 4. So at the end of season 3, like the whole island is just like, wow. Yeah. There's this big light, and then boom. And then about 3 minutes later, Transpo picked me up to take me to the jungle. So I went from like being in the show and watching 10 a day to then being in the jungle with the exact same people. I was like, what is happening? What is my God,
that must have been so weird.
And then Benjamin Linus shot me in the chest, and then Terry O'Quinn had his knees like around my waist, pinning me to the floor while I'm ripping off my bulletproof vest. And all I could see was Locke's beautiful bald head, ice blue eyes, a circle of sky, and then jungle trees. And I'm like, I'm in the computer. It was like I just climbed inside a laptop, and like all the eye close-ups that you would get on Lost, but I was in it, and he was looking into I was like, have I passed away? Am I all right? I mean, it was bonkers. One of the best moments of my entire life. It was magical.
I did a Hallmark Christmas movie with him where he played my father. And he was like the most wonderful person. He brought his guitar with him to set.
Oh yeah.
And he would just like sing, and he was so calm, and he just had this energy chill. That was like super chill, and it made everything so chill in a movie where you shoot an entire movie in like 12 days.
Yeah, that's like, his energy. His energy is just so like that. And then like Josh would have a guitar, and Terry would have a guitar, and then we'd all be singing and maybe accidentally having a sip of something we or maybe shouldn't have, and it's 4:00 in the morning, and all the stars are out, and you're in paradise. Whoa. Paradise. And then like a PA, and we're singing together. The PA was like, hey guys, I'm ready for you on set. And we're like, but we're not ready for set. Hold on, just one more chorus, and then we'll be done, I promise.
What was it like working in Hawaii?
You would think glorious, right? Because it's paradise. I mean, it's stunning. But, I think if I had been with my husband and kids, it would have been way better. But at the time, I was in my 20s and single. Not that I was like wanting to hit the club, but
Yeah.
a lot of the people on the show, like that lived there, that had gotten places there, were all married with kids. So, on the weekends, I was like, really kind of struggled to make plans with people. So I was a little bit bored. Also,
Yeah.
90% of the activities in Hawaii are to do with the sun. Hiya. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I literally remember writing down once things to do in Oahu that don't involve the sun: cinema, gym. Oh, I'm running out. I'm running out. FaceTime mum and dad. I'm out. I'm out. There's nothing else to do. So every day I would go to the beach at like 4:30, 5
Yeah.
o'clock. And when my mum and dad came to visit, they bought me a giant pink donut inflatable ring. And my mum would like push me around in it with my cocktail. And so after they left, I would take that to the beach every day and just float around in it with a cocktail as the sun set and couldn't burn my lily white British skin. It was fun. All by myself.
I've heard that though. I've heard that it's sort of like, island fever sets in and it's very real. It's just,
Yes, you are definitely not on the mainland. You just
no,
not.
and you're not close to the mainland. Like, it's
No.
not like, you're basically flying from one side of the country to the other. LA to New York every weekend if you want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But
a long way.
but it feels further because it's an ocean, And
Yeah.
sometimes you'd look at the schedule, the day out of days, and think, oh, I'm not in many days in this episode, and there's a weekend in the middle. But then sometimes they're like, oh, we just can't risk you leaving. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trapped here, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then like, but who wants to say call a friend, that, because, either an actor, it's like feast or famine. So none of my famine friends wanted to hear me complain that I was trapped in paradise on a hit TV show.
I know. Every time we talked to Grace, and Grace Park was on Hawaii Five-0, and every time we would talk to her, or someone would talk to her, we would say, how's Gracie? Have you talked to her? And they're like, well, she's in Hawaii. Don't know if it's great. We were all like, what? You don't know if it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
But then say it to me now, like if my phone rang after this podcast and, hey, you've been offered a series regular role on on blah, 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 and it's in Hawaii, I'd be like, what a lovely chapter that would be
With your kids.
for my husband and kids, because my husband's a massive fisherman, so is my son. They're water babies. We live by the water. We're at the pool all the time. They would be in heaven,
Yeah. Has
So-
your criteria shifted? Like, how has it shifted since you've had children, like for the roles you're looking for and the ones you're willing to take?
I mean, for the right price and the right scripts, I'll pretty much do anything. But wouldn't it be lovely?
Mm.
I always think, as a mum, to be on a show that is more ensemble rather than just one or two heavy leads that carry everything that are in every scene, because I've done that before and it can break you. And as you know, when you're in it and you're on and it's you, like you don't have a life, and I don't want to miss it all. And especially because I've been blessed enough, because of working before being a mum, to be able to weather the pandemic and the strike, to be able to be so involved in the very, very beginning has just been such a gift.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
especially in this country, women get like 2 minutes maternity leave and then they're supposed to be a human being at work. What? No. So I'm
Yeah.
really, really grateful that wasn't my case, and that I've been able to do bedtime and stuff like that. And then last week I did one episode of a multicam, which I haven't done a multicam in ages and years, and God, and I'm like, this is what I need to be doing. I always say, people go, oh, you're funny, you should do a comedy. And I'm like, yeah. And
Don't
then
you
I
do
get
comedy? Like, haven't you done comedy?
yes and no. Yes, in that it's happened, but the two times I've been a series regular, for different reasons that are very long stories. One got cancelled because there were a lot of complaints, and then another one didn't see the light of day, but it was like all the people from Will and Grace and James Burrows directing. So I've I've done it and I've filmed it and I've had it happen, but nothing to the point where then people go, oh, you do comedy as well, because the physical evidence never properly saw the light of day in the way that was
Right.
hoped for and intended. So, and then typically I end up, then I'll get like a a drama or whatever, and that's great. But then like another few years go by and people go, oh my God, you're so funny. I didn't know you should do a comedy. I'm like, I'm trying. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've been doing this for 24 years. Like, I know I'm literally trying. So then I've been trying to put it out into the universe because I've recently I have not completed The Artist's Way, which, I can tell you about, but that's all very much in terms of getting very clear
about it.
I will, but it's about getting very clear about. I feel like when I get very clear about what I want to manifest, especially my career, then it happens. Because there's sometimes of like you just want to be back on set, or you just want to make money, and you just want to be back in the game. That's too loosey goosey for me. It doesn't really work. So I was really thinking I really want to focus on potentially hosting, which I really want to get into, and comedy, especially because the majority of comedy shoot in LA. I would not have to uproot anybody, be able to sleep in my own bed. The hours are easier. And my most favorite thing to do in life is make people laugh. So to be able to make money off of doing my favorite thing, I think is really my focus right now. So I got to do that last week, and long story longer, I bring that up because I was home every night to do all the things that I always do. So I was like, this is something that actually could be a really good fit for our family, as opposed to, well, just what I want for me. I think it would work well for everybody, because then I won't miss all those bits, because soon enough they're all going to be on their iPhones telling me to shut up and close the door. So trying to enjoy these years as best I can.
My mom was a teacher for 35 years, and she went back to work. So she would time her babies out. Well, there's only 2 of us, but she would time the 2 that she gave birth to. She would time those babies out in the summer so that she could go back to work. She went back to work 2 weeks after she had me, back to teaching at a full-time job. Yeah. 2 weeks later, she dropped me off at daycare and was like,
oh my God,
bye.
Wow.
And she always said that if she could go back and do it differently, she would take the first 2 years of each child's life off. And so that has been in my mind, like first 2 years off, first 2 years off. So I made a conscious decision to do that. And it's so fortunate, and what a luxury to be able to even say that and be able to do that. But I see it in our children. Like, people are like, where's she's going to go to preschool? And we're like, I don't think she's going to. I think she's, I think as long as she's socialized, then I feel like I'm going to keep her at home with us as long as I can, until it's to her jeopardy, I think.
How old is she now? How old is she?
2.5. She'll be 3 in December.
Oh, my daughter's going to be 3 in 2 weeks.
It's such a fun age.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Although she's a little bit of a nightmare, but I love her so much.
Oh,
but
it's okay. My daughter hits me.
Mine too. I was looking at myself naked in the mirror, but I was cleaning my teeth earlier, and I was that on my shoulder, and I went, oh, that's when Bailey bit you in the swimming pool. Cute. I mean, I feel like, especially with my 2, because I spend most of my time when I'm at home on the floor, because everybody's on the floor and playing, and I'm just always down low, picking crap up, folding laundry, playing with toys or whatever. But there's always in the back of my mind just this little bit of, I can't fully relax, because at any minute I might get hurt. Yeah. It's like a prison yard. And there was one moment a few months ago where I was playing with both of them, and thank God I had my glasses on, because I hadn't got my glasses on. It was a few months ago, and I took them off because I thought, these are filthy. That's making it harder to see. And as I did that, I looked up, and then something said in my head, you're going to regret that. And there was a red dinosaur just coming towards me, and I'm like, oh no. And boom, the tail went right into my retina. Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Just at any minute. Are you okay, Mummy? Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm great.
Yeah. It's, it really brings you to your knees.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah, they are very humbling. That is very sure. Yeah.
Is your 3-year-old, because we're in that terrible phase, just the terrible phase of the meltdowns, I don't want you, the meltdowns, just starting to try and talk her way out of going to bed at night.
Everything is a delay. Oh, Mummy, look, is that a new lip gloss? I'm like, what? I said, grab your lovey, we're going to your bed. But I just don't feel tired right now. Okay. And she does the thing like, if I just bring up my shoulders and my hands, everybody will just do what I'm telling them to do. And I'm like, first of all, amazing performance, but I'm trying not to react to it, but also respect, because I kind of see the effort for the performance. I mean, it's basically, it's looking in the mirror is what it is. I'm like, oh no, that's all the world needed was another moi. Like, I just feel like I had my mom on speed, like, sorry for everything, sorry for everything, or sorry for everything. The other day, she got in a mood, like, if I help her wrong, like, if the help that I give was not to the exact specifications of the director's note that she gave me, and something I did was slightly not what to her exact specifications. I did something like that the other day where I didn't help her correctly, and she lost it. And she went up to her room in the dark because I got blackout curtains and it was daytime, and she was just livid. And I'm like, do you need some space? No. Do you want me to sit with you? No. I'm like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to give you some space, but, you know, have your big feelings. But when you're all done with them, mummy's just on the other side of the door when you're ready to talk. And she went, I don't want to say you. I went, boom, got up from where she was and slammed her bedroom door in my face.
Oh,
and she's 2. And I'm like, this is going to be great. I can't wait for 13.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be wonderful. I feel like your daughter and my daughter are taking lessons. Maybe this is just like our penance, but like there are moments where she is so funny, but so cruel. Like it just like I said to my husband, I feel like we had the decision to have another one was really smart because I feel loved again.
Yeah. Totally.
At all. Just like at all. Like
wait, children love their parents?
for this much time. And then and then this much time.
Is your second a boy or a girl? What did you have?
A boy. Oh, are yours boy and girl?
Yeah, I always wanted one of each. That's what I always wanted my whole life. I said, when I grow up, I'm going to have 2 and it's going to be a boy and a girl. And everyone always said, it doesn't work like that. I'm like, no, I can feel it. I know it. I always had a feeling I was going to have one of each. And I'm so glad that I did because, you know, being a parent is a science experiment. So it's just interesting to have a different case study and compare the 2. I find it fascinating how different they are.
They're so different. And I didn't realize that. Like boys, was your son just bigger than your daughter?
No, she's massive. No. Massive.
Really?
Yeah.
Ours is the opposite.
Well, now he's really big and he's really tall and looks like he's 6. But they've always both been in like the 80th, 90th percentile for height and weight. But when they were born, he was 7 pounds 13 and she was 9 pounds 10. And I think I maxed out at like 211 pounds towards the end. I was like, I was just pregnant from here all the way down to my
You
toes.
looked amazing when you were pregnant, though. Like, I mean, you wore it well.
I wore it big and I just went for it. I'm like, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I don't even care. I'll deal with it later. Didn't bother losing the baby weight in between the 2. I'm like, what's the point? The world is still closed. This was before the Delta variant. I'm like, I'm going to have a bagel, have another one and figure it out down the road.
I've tried to over the years, like of not being able to like carry my own children, like find silver linings. Cause that is my way of like being like, you know, this is actually not so bad. Like the little silver linings of it. And one of them is like not having to lose baby weight. Cause that would have killed me.
You know, it's interesting.
I don't diet well.
Like friends of mine or people that I have spoken to, you know, of our age, or people talk about, you know, whether you have a baby, whether you do it naturally or whether you need to do IVF, or is it your egg? Is it not your egg? Was it in you? Was it in an oven? What did you do? There's a million different ways to make a family. But when I talk to a friend that is considering surrogacy, I am not an expert. I am not about any of it, but you know what I know? I always say to my friends that are considering it or saying like, oh, but then it wouldn't be in me and and I'm like, hi, I'm Rebecca Mader. Do you know what I used to think when I held my baby in my arms and I sat there in the middle of the night feeling, do you know what was the least important thing in that moment? And like, what? I'm like, that it was ever in me. What? You don't sit there holding it, go, oh, I'm really glad you came out of my vag. It's just not a thought. What? If anything, you're like, I feel broken from the waist down. It's so hard to take care of this person because I'm broken and I'm also in a diaper. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you were in me and now you're out of me. I'm like, it's irrelevant. Like, I
Yeah.
love dogs. I have loved my dogs as if they came out of my vagina.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden there's a baby in your hands, it's irrelevant what oven it was ever in. It's just never, I don't look at my kids and think, thank God, thank God I made you inside me. I
Yeah.
just don't give a shit. I really don't.
Yeah.
You could have FedExed them to me. I would love them the same, you know? You're not missing anything. Being pregnant is a nightmare. It's a
Yeah. No.
nightmare. Oh.
What aspect of it was a nightmare? Like all of it? I'm always so curious because I didn't experience it.
I mean, the one positive thing, well, not the one positive, the thing that I love or I would ever sort of reminisce and think, was it was fun to feel the baby move. That was a
Oh,
cool
yeah.
feeling. But everything else, for me personally, I felt like I'd been hijacked because all of a
Huh.
sudden it wasn't my body anymore. It didn't look the same. It didn't sound the same. It didn't smell the same. It didn't move the same. I couldn't do this sort of things. And by the end, you're just so uncomfortable. I just didn't
Mm.
feel particularly like I feel better now not pregnant.
Yeah.
I don't, when people say to me, oh, you know, number 3, I'm like, no gracias. No, I've lost the baby weight. I'm me again. I'm ready to focus on a whole new chapter. I mean, I don't want to go back. 2 is a good number. I'm good.
2
2
feels like
is
a good
good.
number.
Even, yeah. What about you? Are you done? You're done, right? Are you done?
I'm too old. Like whether you carry them or not, I feel like I've done the math. I've done the math in my mind, and I know how old I will be. And look, age is
Would
just a
you have
number.
more then? Like, would you have more if you were
100%.
35? You
Yeah.
would?
100%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I would. And I said the other day in the car with my husband and my mother-in-law, I was like, we do have some more embryos,
Uh-oh.
And he went, nope, we're done. We're done. And I went, sort of a shame, isn't it? And he was
they're
like,
right there, dude, next to the fish fingers. And they're right there in the
We're
freezer.
done.
Should we just pop them in?
just go for it. It's a lot. It's a lot. I want to be super active. And I also am aware of the fact that, you are only as old as you feel. And I feel like I'm 25 half the time, and I do know that. So I will always my goal is to always be active with my kids. But I also know that, that our daughter has required so much attention for her health that I can't imagine splitting what else we have left with her brother. You know what I mean? Like we're just figuring it out. And we're just starting to feel normal,
I do worry about, I'm always worried about, am I loving everybody the same enough? Because I never want to hear from either of them down the road that they felt like I ever favoritized someone over them, because what a horrible, horrible feeling. And that creates sometimes I think I overthink it because I create anxiety and I'm like, but at least I'm cognizant of it, because sometimes I can see maybe someone's acting out because I have been playing with Bailey a bit too long on this game. So then I'm trying to bring everybody into the same game. And then I'm trying to explain to everybody there's only one mummy. But then sometimes I'm really good at playing 2 games at the same time. And I can have a tea party with the kittens here. And I can also play with the dinosaurs over here. Oh, that's delicious. One more sugar, please. I said, get back. Oh, you want Bruce Lee Kung Fu? Hey, yeah. No, milk, please. Thank you. I will take a bagel or no, a croissant. I'm like, how do you, and then the baby cries. I think I would turn to dust, like ashes to ashes. I had a good run.
Yeah.
Like, am I still in here? Like,
every time we get into the car when we're out with both children, we get in the car and my husband and I both go,
oh, it's the best bit of the day. Closing the door. That's the slowest I move throughout the door, is walking from Bailey's side to the driver's door. I just saunter. I check my email on the way. Then I get back into, I said I don't want to go to school. I'm like, off we go.
Do you play well? Are you one of those, you said you're on the ground playing. Do you feel like your acting has helped you Because I feel like once she started make believe, I was like, here I go.
I'm in. Oh,
Here
I
I go.
mean,
Tap
there's
me in,
a,
coach.
yeah, yeah. I've won a lot of Emmys in my home in terms of my performances. Like I get really committed, you know, like I didn't know that I had that much T-Rex in me. And you would think playing the Wicked Witch of the West, I sort of tapped into it, but like sometimes I'll be her and I'm behind the wall, I'm like getting ready to kind of, and they scream. And I mean, once I'm in, I'm in.
Have you scared your kids?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's fun.
Our
Yeah,
daughter
they
has
love
started
it.
crying and goes, too much, mommy, too much, please.
Oh,
We're
mine like to
okay.
hide from me in the dark because I keep their bedrooms dark. And if I haven't opened the curtains yet, if the curtains are still drawn, it's like nighttime in there, and they like to hide in there. And then mummy, do the thing where you come to scare us, mummy. They send their little English accents. Mummy, do the thing where you're that person, and we all go ah. I'm like, all right, everybody go, and I count to 20, and then I start coming up the stairs like boom. I'm like fee, fi. They're like faux fum. And then I say, I smell the blood of an English bum. And I'm coming to bite their bums. They're like, no, no, bums, mummy. I'm like, "Rah!" And they're hiding. I'm trying to bite them. I'm like drenched in sweat by the end of it. I'm like, I'm all done. I need a timeout. I need a cup of tea. Mummy needs a break.
Oh God, I love it. I love it. I love like our daughter is just into all of it and it's just so much fun. I have created characters that I am just waiting to play.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
I kind of want to play with you.
It would be so fun. Like I feel like we could witch it out together.
Yes.
I've been working on a
yes.
witch. I have been working on a witch. So
prove it. Call me.
yeah. Yeah. So she's quite hideous, but she's also misunderstood. Speaking of witches, what was it like? Because you've done it a couple times. What was it like coming into a show that was pre-existing and already so loved?
I love it. I think I could imagine how that could be perceived to be intimidating, but there's no pressure on me. And when you're on a show from conception, it's all on you. And if it gets cancelled or whatever, the ratings are crap and you're, number 1, 2, 3 on the call sheet, you're like, ooh. But if it's already on, it's already airing, it's definitely going to see the light of day. Nice for an actor to be able to say that because half the time, most of the stuff we do doesn't even go on telly. You think it's going to definitely air. I'm going to definitely get paid. So I'm literally, I just show up with such an attitude of, sounds so cheesy, but I'm just an attitude of gratitude. I'm like, yay, this is going to be a great thing for me. It's already real. And I just get to come and play. And I don't walk in like I own the place or that I've been here since day one. No, like there's a way of doing it where you're respecting the people that are there and it's theirs, but a way of kind of slipping in where it's not like, oh God, we've got to bring her. I'm very good at slipping in sort of as if I was already there, but in a way that's humble enough that I'm not bruising any egos and just I've come to play. I've literally come to play. I love my job. What's up? Let's have a great day today. That's it. Because being on set, besides being who I am in my family in my real life, but being on set is a spiritual experience for me. And last week I sat on a sofa on set behind 4 cameras, just looking at, I'll always do this whenever I'm on a new job or just even a job in general. And I love to look around and I look at the crew and like look at all the grips and everybody working hard and all their roles, and just seeing how it's all flowing and everyone, the symbiosis of it all and everyone working together and the smell and tripping over wires and holding my sides. And I'm like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Ah, it is my happy place. Just sitting on a set. I'm like, I can't imagine doing anything else. I just love my job so much. It hurts. And I also really thoroughly enjoy being in the hair and makeup trailer because it's where all the tea is spilled. Everyone's totally being themselves. You get to gossip about the day, talk about how the episode is going. It's like a communal heart of the show. And I love being in the hair and makeup. There's dogs in there. I mean, it's just chaos. People's kids show up. I love it. It's like when you go to a house party and everybody ends up in the kitchen. However, on the days on Once Upon a Time where I did have to be green, they actually ended up getting me a special separate trailer that removed all the fumes out of the air and also didn't gas everybody else. And there were pregnant people on the time at the show, so we didn't want to. I'm like, we'll kill Maida, whatever, she'll be fine. Just let her die quietly in a separate space. Thank you.
That always gets me when they're like, we'll pump the whole set with atmosphere smoke, but if there's a child under 12, we can't use it. And I'm like, well, what about my lungs?
What about my baby lungs? Oh my God.
Me?
Atmospheric smoke really messes with my lungs. I mean, Once Upon a Time, it was just, I always sounded very bluesy on Once Upon a Time because of that atmospheric smoke. But my makeup artist on Once Upon a Time and I loved my green days because she loved doing it. I loved being it. But we also loved our special time together. So it would take like an hour to an hour and a half to do the green makeup and everything. And then sometimes the hair guy would come in there too. So we'd have our own little sort of private party, chinwag. I'd bring Starbucks and we'd have a natter, and it was just really special. I really enjoyed those chats and those times, and I'm still in touch with them to this day. These hair and makeup people. Yeah, because we just talk for hours and hours. And you get so close to these people. They're in your face for 12 to 17 hours a day. It's like, you know everything they're doing, what time they went to bed, if they've had a poo today. Like, you're so close to people, you know?
Well, and I find that the hair and makeup trailer is the place, if there's a person on that. You know, I've usually had one, if not multiples, on every show I've ever been in. But I find that the hair and makeup trailer for me is the one place all day where I feel like I can actually be myself. Where I can let and I don't want to call it a facade, but I can let the weight of the responsibility of when I step out that door go, and I can come in and I can just shake it off. And that is where, you know, sometimes I've gotten bad news about animals. I've like bad news about friends, like, you know, lost a friend and you got to go to work, and like, you know, like gone through breakups and you have to go to work. Like, you know, you don't, as an actor, you don't have the luxury of falling apart on set. You have to do it when you're not in character and you're not around other people because you don't want it to affect them. And I have found that the hair and makeup trailer for me is that place where I let go and regroup, you know, a lot of times.
Yeah, it's kind of like going backstage, isn't it? And typically, you know, there aren't going to be producers and studio network executives in there. So it just very much does become a safe space. And the hair and makeup people, typically in my experience too over the years, have a heart for that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all very much like, it just is very supportive. And whether it's something they're going through or you're going through, it does become for me the heart of the job. It's those people in that trailer, because they do allow you that freedom to kind of, you know, let your guard down at work, which is nice. Also, we don't even really get a day off, because it's like you can be going through something hideous, physically hideous, and you still got to go to work tomorrow. Because if you're in those scenes and you don't go, hundreds of thousands of dollars are at stake.
And they tell you.
It's so much pressure. Like, I can't come in. They're like, pretty sure you're coming in.
Can you?
We'll fix it in post.
I've literally I've gotten picked up from the emergency room, like with kidney stones, taken to work, and then taken
back.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. 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 That's why COVID was so interesting, because it was the first time as an actor where it was like people were like, oh God, they can't come to work today.
Yeah, it's the opposite, wasn't it?
So, like, you can't come to work. You have a cough.
We're shutting down.
You can't come to work. And it's like, oh, no, but I come to work when I'm sick. Like, it's okay. Like, you know, just like quarantine.
Not in a pandemic.
Not in a pandemic. You don't. It was a little strange. It's changed the industry a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Definitely.
think so. Are you close with the people from Once Upon a Time?
I've got loads of friends from that show. Loads. It's crazy. Yeah. I remember Milo's baby shower, just looking around and thinking, oh my God, half of this room is people to do with Once Upon a Time, and not just actors. It was like executive producers' wives, hair and makeup people came, actors came. It was, I've never heard of people leaving a show with that many friends, and like genuine friendships too, where we're going to be friends forever. And I love that. There's sort of a lot of these people have become my family in LA, you know, because I'm all about choosing my chosen family, because, you know, unfortunately I am so far away from mine, you know, so they've become a really big part of my life. It's been really nice.
What is the actor's way?
Oh, the artist's way.
The artist's way.
It's a $20 book. Best $20 you'll ever spend. And
Mm.
it's written by this woman called Julia Cameron. It's been around for a while, but it's basically like a 12-week program where you just journal and answer some questions, but really focus on your inner creativity. So it's not for an artist, it's for anybody,
Mm.
under the guise of we all have an artist child within us, because we all are little children and are creative beings and paint and draw, and then life happens, right? So it's about retapping in. So you could be like a banker or an actor and still get something from this. And I've started it like 2 or 3 times and never finished it. And this is the
Mm.
furthest I've gotten. This is the furthest I've gotten. I'm now on week 9 and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Really?
It's like free therapy. And one thing that I love about it is the sort of the number one sort of commitment that you have to do is, upon waking, which is hard when you have kids, but upon waking, just write for 30
Mm.
minutes. So it's like 3 large pages of a notebook. It's just stream of consciousness writing. And even if you're going, I don't want to do this, I want to have a coffee, this is really annoying, my baby's crying, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this is shit, I don't understand why. You still just keep moving your hand. And after a
Yeah.
while, it becomes things like how you're feeling about something in your life, or da, da, da. And all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know I felt that way about that way. And so you're just tapping
Yeah.
in and tapping in, but also
Mm.
getting any sort of like negativity kind of out through you onto the page, and also getting very clear about what your intention is for the day, that I wouldn't have known if I had immediately, when you're a mum, woken up by a baby, you're immediately of service to somebody else. And I haven't checked in with me
Mm.
or remembered what I need to do or anything. So it's really kind of helped get me back into focus, just with starting each day with so much intention. It's been really cool. But hashtag
Huh.
recommend for anybody listening. It's just been a game changer.
I want to write that down. I'm
Hmm.
gonna try that.
Really
Um,
cool.
I I could talk to you for forever.
Ever.
I just
I know.
I what are you hoping? You say you're manifesting, like, what's next? What do you what is in you that like, is there a character that you know is there that you've just been
Yes.
dying to play?
Yes. And I kind of got an opportunity to do that last week, where I really, really, really want to do a comedy. I really do. And I want to, multicam, preferably single cam, if, whatever is great too. But I really want to do a comedy, and playing someone kind of like Karen from Will and Grace, but British. Like that
I
kind of
love it.
character, just really funny and snotty and like kind of bitchy, but you're like, she's such a terrible person. Why do I love her so much? I love characters like that, kind of like the mum on Schitt's Creek kind of
Oh
character,
my God, she's so freaking talented
that type of character where you're like, oh, she's so selfish. What a nightmare. But why do I want to drink Chardonnay with her all day long?
all
I
day long.
love flawed, mixed people that happen to be funny. That is my jam.
She has been like, I mean, since back in the day, like in Beetlejuice,
Hmm.
just fell in love with her. She's
Hmm.
so
I
talented.
fell in love with her on Best in Show. That's one of my favorite films. I love her in that.
Yes, she's
I
so good.
love that
Christopher Guest
movie.
is so good. So
Yes.
good.
Hmm.
I know. I know. I've been like, I always wanted to do a comedy as well. It doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come naturally. My form of comedy is more physical, like Lucille Ball type comedy, like where
I love physical comedy. Big fan.
that's like I'm good. I've got that, but I'm not as proficient with comedy that's written. I have, timing is hard for me. Like I don't, it's something that's
Hmm.
intimidates me a lot,
Hmm.
but I love it. I love to
Hmm.
laugh.
Oh, me too. Me too.
It's
I
so fun.
typically, is I've always done this, even before the pandemic. People have background noise on or have the TV on to be company. I've always done that, especially when I was single. But I like to have just comedy on in the background, because it just raises my vibration. It raises the vibration of my house. Like when I went through a divorce in 2006, my sister bought me on DVD. Yeah, in 2006, the entire 10 seasons of Friends, and I just played those DVDs and all the time until I felt like I didn't need to anymore.
Yeah.
Even so, I'd be, and no matter what room I was in, I'm like, because I just think laughter is just the best medicine.
It's so
I,
funny you say that because when I met my husband, he also played Friends in the background.
Oh, really?
Like,
I love that.
it was his
I
thing.
love him.
He loved it. He loved it.
In 2018, someone said to me, like, what are you thinking about in your career? And I said to them the exact same answer I said to you. That was 6 years ago, right? I'm like, I really want to do a sitcom. I want to play like a British bitch, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I know, I'm going to start watching I'm going to watch, it was when Will and Grace had just been dumped, I think, on Hulu, like the entire collection. And I'm like, I'm going to start watching it and I'm going to manifest a show just like it. And I started going out on auditions and I booked a pilot that was written by the same people that wrote Will and Grace. Not only that, they had the new season of Will and Grace that they were currently writing that was currently airing at that time. And when we shot the pilot, it was the exact same crew down to craft service from Will and Grace that did my pilot.
Wow.
Like, so everybody was, and I was like watching it every day and then actually manifested the same people. I was like, am I a witch in real life? What's going on? I was like, that was amazing.
Like, I got some power.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, manifestation, I mean, people talk about it all the time. It's super huge. Super huge. You know, what you put out into the world, you get back in spades.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This was delightful. I love hanging out with you.
And when you get your show, I'll play the straight character to your bitchy British.
Okay. Sold. I'll put you in my contract.
Yay! I'll be in your writer.
Yay! Oh, thanks,
Thank
Katee.
you. It's so good
You're
to see
welcome.
you. Bye. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hindsight. Thank you so much for sticking around. I am so happy to have all 10 of you. And my co-host, the most tired man in the world right now, Jeph, is here with me. Hi Jeph, why are you so tired?
I feel like it's because I've spent my whole day with you. Like I think you know, at this point it's already come out, but we can say that you did Seth Meyers and his brother Josh Meyers podcast, Family Trips. You were a guest on it.
Yeah.
In our world, that comes out next week. But for those of you listening, it's probably been out for a couple weeks now.
How did you think that went?
I thought it went well. How did you think it went?
So I have this weird thing that happens, and this is sort of about Rebecca as well. I have this thing that happens when I interview funny people, where I immediately start to be more funny or try to be more funny because I'm trying to like match who I think this person is in some way, or I'm insecure that they're going to think I'm not funny as if I'm known for being fucking funny. But like, it's this weird thing where I like try to out funny them.
Yeah.
And so I was consciously aware when I was talking to Seth, Katee, and I literally said this to myself as I stepped out of bed this morning, 2 feet on the ground. The first thing I thought is, girl, do not try to be funny.
Yeah.
Just answer the questions and talk about your fucking life. That's it. Like, don't try to be funny.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be funny on a podcast. It's supposed to be entertaining, and you were funny. You're not an unfunny person. I think they talked a lot about, because like you do get the perception because of your work that you're a serious, super serious person. And I've come to find out that that's not true at all.
No, I'm not. There's not really a serious bone in my body. I mean, I guess that's kind of not true. Like there is, like I have the ability to get like really like introspective, I think. I mean, especially with like the life experiences that have sort of landed in my lap the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I don't really take that much that seriously.
Well, you can't. I mean, I think, but I think you did well. And I think, you know, it's no expectation there for you to be a funny person. They do want to hear your stories. And, you know, I think it was pretty good. Did you have fun?
I did have fun. I had a lot of fun. But Robin looked at me at 7:30 in the morning while I was holding Granger, and he goes, "Are you ready?" And I went, "For what?" And he went, "For the podcast." And I went, "Yeah, no, I mean, I'm doing my research right now." And he went, "No, Kate, for Seth and Josh's podcast." I went, and he goes, "Did you forget?" And I went, "No."
Just lied through your teeth.
You should hold this baby while I go brush my teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that they could smell me. Like, I'm not scratch and sniff.
No, that's for you. It's
hold on one second. I need to move. Robin left the OBS over your face and I can't see your face.
Oh.
Back to me.
Just looking at herself again. We do one of these moments here where it's just me and the listeners.
The OBS was over his face, so I moved it to the side.
Katee is, I don't know if you know Katee, but I have this whole thing going now where I just talk to the listeners while you go away. And I was about to tell them about how we were dealing with your eyeline issues, and it was just because you were staring at yourself the whole time. So I wouldn't be surprised if for the viewer out there, we should tell that story because it's quite funny, and I think I like to take the piss out of myself. So for the person out there who doesn't understand what we're talking about right now, Jeph said to me the other day, we really need to do something about your eyeline because it at times it's you're like looking over and then you look back, like your eyeline seems to be bouncing all over the place. And I said, oh, I know, I noticed that too. And I think I can fix it. And you were like, And I was like, I get distracted by how pretty I am. At least that's the way that you're phrasing it. There's a lot of people out there that would phrase that differently. Like they would have a much more negative take on it, you know?
Look, you have to practice positive self-talk. Like I could tell you every single thing that is wrong about me from here to here that you see right now. But I choose to focus on the good stuff because my child hears me talk about myself. And so it needs to be more positive. So I just get distracted sometimes on how cute I look or how well I did my makeup that day or, you know, not that I don't find the guests to be totally interesting, but it is my ADHD, I'm sure.
Speaking of positive, beautiful people, how's that for a pivot?
There you go.
Rebecca, her vibe is just so cool and like, you know, she's like immediately the type of person you just want to like talk to. Like I remember when I was like setting up her tech for her, she was just so like personable and chatty. And I was just like, I could just sit here and talk to you forever.
I know. Screw Katee. She really is. There are people that there are a lot of people on the convention circuit that I've met and that I just sort of like, you know, a fan of their work, find them to be interesting performers, sit down at a table with them. And I'm like, I'm going to go call my husband and let's check in. And like, you know, like I don't, there's no reason to like keep up pretenses or anything. Like I'm not interested in the conversation. And so I usually go do other things. If you're hearing this and I've walked away from you at a convention, I'm not talking about you.
There's something else happening.
But something else. How scary was that story about when she was like 8 months pregnant and somebody like let off the poppers in the convention hall right next to her table and the muscles over her pregnant belly clenched down and she could no longer feel the baby move.
Were you there for that?
I was sitting next to her.
That's frightening.
And the 2 pops went off and I don't know what Rebecca did in that moment because I hit the floor and immediately was going to start army crawling to the exit, like behind the curtain. Because I was like, I just play a hero on TV. Yeah. Like I am not going to be here for this. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously, if Rebecca was next to me and we very quickly realized that it wasn't a serious issue, but everyone, so many people, not everyone, but so many people around me like hit the deck as if it was gunshots. Yeah.
That's interesting that I always wonder, I mean, I think I've been in an area where there's been a loud sound, but I don't think I've ever been in a spot where I immediately hit the ground thinking that it might be a gunshot.
No.
Which may or may be good or bad, but I don't know. I feel like I'm always just assuming it's a firework or something.
Do you? So I have this thing, and I don't know if you do or not. Like when I go into, I think as an American, we're so used to mass shootings. They happen constantly. It is, other countries are appalled by how often they happen in our country.
Right.
I am so aware of that anytime I go into a crowded place, whether it be a movie theater, a concert, the 3rd Street Promenade down in Santa Monica, anytime I'm in a area that is crowded yet open, or not open, I always look for my exits. Always. And I always make sure that I'm aware of exits that are not the one that I came in, because in a pressure situation, most people, the brain, we've talked about this a little bit before. I saw a study at one point that I should find again, but in pressure situations, the brain looks for what to do in your memory bank. And so what it will do is you will instinctively go to the exit you came in.
Right.
Because that's in that pressure moment when you're anxiety and you don't know what to do and there's panic, you go to what you know. And so I always scan exits and prepare myself how I'm going to get out of someplace. And Robin's always like, my poor little Canadian husband is like, this is insane. I'm like, yeah, it is. But if something happens, I know that there's 6 exits and everyone else is going to go towards that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you do that?
I don't. And I don't know. I mean, it's not that the thought hasn't crossed my mind, but it's not like every single place I go, I think about that. Like, speaking of, we talk about Target in this episode. That's what I was thinking of as you were describing that story. I don't walk into Target and like think about all the scenarios and where they would happen, but like, it's not that it's out of my mind completely. Like, it does occasionally, come into my mind about like, oh, this place could potentially be unsafe because of the openness of it. And, especially when you go into crowded situations for like outdoor events, things like that, I start to like, that does enter my head there, which is a sad commentary on our country, but doesn't feel very free when you have to think about all your exit strategies.
It doesn't. And I'm not as concerned in places with metal detectors. I'm just not. But like a Target.
Yeah. But you never know too. I mean, like I don't really know, but at the convention, I assume they're doing some kind of security check, aren't they? They're not just letting anybody in.
No, but it depends. It depends on what the convention is, how big it is, but people are they're allowed to take in, because there's cosplay, right? They're allowed to take in fake weapons. Usually, the process at a convention it's something like this, mind you. I'm paraphrasing the event. But normally you check your guns in and they give you like a zip tie, like an orange zip tie or something that shows that this weapon has been cleared and it's not real.
Right.
And that is the fear of this kind of event, is you can never predict them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, are you going to be anywhere soon?
Oh my God. So this Friday, the 25th, I am going to be at the Chicago Battlestar Galactica convention with a few cast members. I don't know who is appearing Friday. I think most people are doing Saturday, Sunday. I am only appearing Friday at the Battlestar convention. All the money I raise is going to pediatric cancer. So please, 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 please come to my table and buy a bunch of shit. I will only be signing Battlestar Galactica. So keep that in mind. But like I said, all of the money is going to go to charity. So please come see me at that. That is this Friday. But this Saturday and Sunday, I'm also going to be in San Antonio. So also, please come and buy a lot of shit. That money is just going toward my pool fund.
Since your priorities are on two opposite ends of the spectrum here. It's almost admirable in its audacity.
Yeah. It's not going toward my pool fund, you guys. I don't need my pool fund. We've not to take it down a notch, but we've talked about this a lot, that I took 2 years off to be with my children a lot, and especially with what our daughter was going through, I wanted to be here for everything, so I turned a lot of work down. Conventions and the financial stability that those conventions provided me while only having to be away from my family for a day or two was invaluable to us during that time, because I didn't work. I chose not to work because I wanted to be home with our daughter. So I can joke about the pool fund, but they have been really, really valuable to the sort of like the stability of our family the last 2 years.
Yeah,
so
it's more like a pool of money to take care of your family with.
Yeah, exactly. To dive and swim it.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck style. Yeah.
And next weekend I'm going to be in Rhode Island, so come out and see me in Rhode Island as well.
Great.
What else did we talk about in this? We talked about women of a certain age. I find this to be such a huge topic in my life right now, because it's because all my friends around me are also aging, and so it's this weird thing where I don't know. I still do you feel your age?
Yeah. I feel like we talk a lot about how old I am and how old we are and everything. But I mean, also, it's a completely different experience for you than it is for me. Like I'm, and men my age a lot of times are hitting their stride and entering the prime of their careers, and
the more my boobs sag, my career dries up, and the more a male's balls sag, they just get more work. I'll work on that bit. I'll work on that.
Yeah. There's
a joke in there somewhere, Jeph. It's a bit wordy.
You can see in Nashville.
I'm going to talk about the scrotum. I'm going to talk about a male scrotum. I think it's going to be amazing.
I think it is, though. You've talked with many, many women about this, and I think it's probably not happening fast enough, but I think it is changing. There are more and more roles for women. I mean, Maggie Smith just died, and she was killing it into her 90s. So it's possible.
Somebody said to me a long time ago that in regard to me, they said, I truly believe that you will have the opportunity and the ability to work as long as you want to work in this industry, but it may not be what you want to do. And you just have to decide that.
Interesting.
And I always found that so interesting, because I was like, oh, right. Okay. So I could probably work, but at what point does the value of the product, or project sort of go, I don't know if I want to do that, or do I continue to work and do things that I wouldn't necessarily normally do, at this point in my career, just to continue to work because I want to act. Yeah. I don't know.
You want to act, and you want to, I mean, it's at a certain point too, it is a job. You need, as we've discussed, you need money to support your family. And it's also, I would think you're in a position now where you're not going to go suddenly just go get an accountant job somewhere, you're not going to go work as an office worker somewhere.
Jeph, I was talking about my therapist with this the other day, and I said, I have no other skills. And he went, yet. And I was like, slightly exciting, also depressing.
Yeah.
I think that we were having this conversation about the ability to pivot in life is a really, really important skill set, that the people that seem to have success throughout their lives don't necessarily do the same thing every day for the rest of their life. They have the ability to pivot and say, okay, this isn't working anymore. I see that it's starting to not work. I'm not going to wait for it to stop. I'm going to pivot. What am I going to do now?
Yeah. I think all of that is possible. My theory on success in my own life, though, has always been just don't allow yourself to get good at anything else so that this is the only thing you can do. Because I'm in a similar boat. I've been working in this industry for like 20 years, and it's like I don't think I could go get like just a job working at a store. I don't know what I would do. I've never worked a job where I have to like, hi, how you doing today? Can I help you with something? Never had to do that. So I
realized what I need, because Robin and I have been talking about this a lot. Like, what do we want the rest of our lives to look like? Because one of the crazy things to realize is that if let's say you went into the workforce at 18 years old, or you became an adult at 18, you've actually, I'm going to round it up to 20 just because my math skills suck because I'm not good at anything else, and just say, okay, so I have been an active person, like an active member of society for 26 years. 26 years. That's the actual correct math. I've been 18 years old and working, or, for 26 years.
Yeah.
If I live to be 90, let's call it 80.
Okay.
Because that's actually more realistic. If I stopped right now doing what I do, and I recreated myself, and I pivoted, and I started doing something else, even if I went to school for 4 years, I would do that longer than the 26 years that I've been working.
That's a good point.
So if you look at it like that and you go, okay, I've done this successfully for this long. I could do something else successfully for twice as long. You know what I mean?
True.
But you can.
True. That is true. I mean, people do it all the time.
They do. I think that what holds people back is fear.
Yeah.
Is fear that like, I can't start over again.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you wait for whatever you're currently doing to dry up completely, then you become desperate,
Yeah.
I don't know. So these are the things that are going through my head.
But I think at the end of the day, like, you don't want to stop acting.
No, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's like Rebecca was saying in this episode, just about how much she loves being on set, and that feeling of like seeing everybody come to, it's that old classic feeling of like, let's put on a show. I think anybody that's in our industry, there's an attraction to that we just find irresistible. Like, I know when she's talking about that, I know exactly what she's talking about. Like, being on set is like one of my greatest happy places too. Like she said, it was her happy place. It's like, I just love it so much because it's just like, everybody's doing stuff and it's cool and you're making something and it's fun, and you don't want to pivot away from that.
No. I forgot. This is what I was going to say though. It's the novelty of it. I would never be able to do the same thing day in and day out with the exact same landscape.
Yeah.
With it. And I'm not saying that I love and respect and admire so many of my family and friends that do that. I need novelty in my life.
Yeah.
I have to have it. Maybe that's my brain and my ADHD, but I need constant change.
Yep. I feel the same way. I don't want to skip over real quickly though. Lost. Were you a Lost fan?
So I was not a Lost fan.
You were kind of busy during that time period, I think.
It was during Battlestar.
Yeah.
We were filming at the same time, although I did spend some dinners with Josh Holloway.
Yeah. Lovely fella.
Yeah.
I've never met him, but
cute.
Great guy.
Really, really interesting guy. I don't know if he's acting anymore. I think he literally didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard a lot of stories about Lost through the grapevine about people not loving Rebecca talked about it a little bit too, how she kind of didn't like the way her character was treated and everything. And I do remember that she was introduced and then made sort of as a big character, and then they just didn't know what to do with her. And I feel like that's sort of par for the course with Lost. They would introduce things and then not really know how to do anything with it. But
I think that's one of the trappings of a show that lasts a long time successfully. And I think that one of the things to talk about Battlestar, which is what I was doing at the time, they always knew what the end was.
Yeah.
They knew what the end was the entire time. They just didn't know how they were going to get there exactly.
Yeah.
That's really important, I think, with a show that is sci-fi, where you can go off in many, many different places and it doesn't exist in a grounded place, potentially, real place, that maybe they were having an issue with. I don't know.
There's probably a much, much deeper conversation to have on that, but it was a cultural moment. I was a fan of the show, and the last thing I'll say, I told you this at the time too. Many years ago, I met Rebecca randomly at a party. And just to reiterate what wonderful, nice person she is, she sat and we talked for a long time. And then now some 10 plus years later, I mentioned it to her and she remembered it, or at least she pretended to remember it. And it was very believable. And she's just a very, very nice, warm person.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she really is. I mean, I like I said, the moment I met her, I was like, you're going to be in my life. I like you very much.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Let's answer some fan questions. This is on YouTube and comments. This person, Keith Evans 0407 says, I do have a question regarding being on a booking hold for a year or 18 months. During this time, are you being paid? Keith, here's the irony. We're not being paid.
Yeah, I heard you laugh halfway through that.
Yeah, because here's the problem. We as actors get paid per episode. And the hold is to protect the studio. So we don't go off and book something else while they're trying to decide if they want to pick us up for another season or not. We don't get paid. You're sitting there unemployable, at least in that space. You know, what they say is, you could go do a movie. We wouldn't, you know, I mean, you have to ask permission, of course, but we wouldn't hold you back from that. But you can't go do another series. But if you're a TV actor like myself, who is synonymous with TV, I will sit there unemployed for a very long time. And they can decide at 18, at the very, very last moment of that hold, the day your hold is up, that they would have to tell you there's another season, that they changed their mind.
Yeah.
And then they let you go. And you've been unemployed for whatever long it is. 18 months is obscene. And 18 months is like the entire process. Like, you're not on hold for more than a calendar year. It's 18 months, meaning that like you shot the season for 6 months and then it's an 18-month in total. So 6 months, that's, you know, almost a year potentially that you're sitting there unemployed.
They get away with this because you are hoping that the series will go eventually, and you don't know. It's not like there are series being dropped in your lap all the time. No. So you're kind of just, it's this weird tension of like, I don't want to give up this potential opportunity that, if goes, could be huge.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I think
tough.
18 months is a bit dramatic. I think they're more like 15 months, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do. I think they're more like
it's still a lot, though.
It's a long time to sit on your butt
Yeah.
and not have any money coming in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. 23 says, being a number one, what does that mean? So this is actually a really cool question, because we talk about being a number one a lot on this show. We talked about it with Jewel. I think we've talked about it with Truco. Like, there's a lot of, it comes up a lot. Number one means you are the lead of the show. You are like statistically the highest paid actor on the show. You are number one. So like Nathan Fillion, number one. Eddie Olmos from Battlestar, number one. Me in Another Life, number one. Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian, number one. So, and what it also means is that is the number of the call sheet. So call sheets in a day, as actors, they are sort of your number on the call sheet, sort of like an athlete. Your number is associated with you for the length of that series. On Battlestar, I was number 4. So I was number 4 on a call sheet for the entire time. What that meant is you could go down, you could say on the schedule for the next day, you know that you're number 4. It tells you what time you're supposed to be to work, what your call time is, what time you're supposed to be in hair and makeup, what scenes you're going to do that day, so on and so forth. But there's sometimes, because it's all kind of negotiated, you can kind of tell what people are making based on where their number is. It used to be that way on network television. It's not really that like that anymore. But so that's what we talk about being a good number one. Basically, it means you are the lead of the show.
Yeah. And there's a sort of unwritten rule about being the number one, too, where everybody is sort of following your example.
Yep.
You're presumably oftentimes somebody who has experience, and they set the tenor and the tone of the set.
You do. And that's why we talk about the fact that if you have a good number one, like a Robert Taylor, who is a phenomenal professional and comes to work and he's memorized and he's happy every day and he works his ass off, that sets the tone, because you don't want to come to work as a number 4 and not be prepared and not do this and not do that, because what you're saying is that I'm not as good at my job, or I don't take my job as seriously as number one.
Yeah.
And that's not a good look.
Yeah.
That is not a good look. So my goal in life has always been to beat the person to set who's above me in number.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I never let number one beat me if I'm number one. Never let that person arrive to set before you because that makes you look bad.
Right, yeah.
So you guys, let's get into the mail sack.
Mail sack. We're going to the mail sack. Mail sack. Why are we calling it mail sack?
I'm too tired to dance today.
Oh, Jeph.
But I think maybe we should start doing a picture-in-picture of you during the mail sack animation for our YouTube viewers so they can see your dances.
They change every time. And then people will realize that I have very little dance moves.
If it works, it works,
I mean, you guys, welcome to the mail sack. Send your comments to thesackhoffshow@gmail.com, and you might be so lucky for us to read your comment. Again, I want to thank the 10 people who have stayed this long. I appreciate you. Jeph doesn't.
We hear from them. I appreciate them.
We appreciate
if
everyone.
I'm going to be here, I like that other people are here too.
All right. Dylan says, the way Bear was talking about singularity made me think of heavy metal and Heavy Metal 2000. And now I have a deep need for him to deep a new heavy metal 3000 with a Katee piano solo somewhere.
Do you know what this means at all? No. Are you familiar with the animation I think it's from the 70s or 80s called Heavy Metal? It was a movie, the animated, and then in 2000 they made a new one called Heavy Metal 2000 with a bunch of new animations. It's awesome. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's so cool. It's just like particular time and place. The one from I'm pretty sure it's from the early 80s or mid 80s, but
I think you're right. I think you're right, because it's all coming back to me now, but it's animated, right?
You probably have seen the like cover with the like chrome lettering, heavy metal, and like the Viking scantily clad woman on it, There was, and this is Battlestar-esque as well. There is a movie that for any like music fans out there, I know we're talking about heavy metal animation right now, but there is a movie that came out in 1996 with Callum Keith Rennie in it, who played Leoben on Battlestar Galactica, called Hardcore Logo. Hardcore Logo?
Canadian movie. Phenomenal movie. A group of washed up Canadian punk rockers get back together for a road trip in a memory of a dear friend who was supposedly shot, or so rumors imply. As they travel, they ignore the underlying psychological darkness within each other. It's a great movie.
All right.
And Callum Keith Rennie it made me fall in love with him as an actor. He's phenomenal in it, but it is about like a rock band. And so every time I think of like heavy metal or like things, I always think about Hardcore Logo.
All right. So we're going to get Bear to make Heavy Metal 3000 with Callum in it.
And God, it would be so good.
Yeah.
It'd be so good. I bet he would do it.
Bear would be the perfect choice if they were going to do it. Although it seems like maybe they just need to animate his graphic novel and make that the new Heavy Metal 3000. Did Robin want to bring up his beef? Is he around to talk about his beef?
Robin, come talk about your beef.
Not
and not your penis.
I can't do it.
Look at us. Same wavelength now.
You're Superman's beef. Well, you come over here.
Yeah, we're gonna get a guest appearance by Robin. Because he has a particular beef that he wants to bring up with one of our one of our dear listeners. Robin wants to take to task and have a fight with.
Yeah, we have a real issue. I don't know who they are. Actually, I didn't look at their name, but I responded to them as myself on YouTube. And they had a problem with my thumbnail. I make the thumbnails for the clip outs, and I do the clip outs. And I had one clip out that said something like not enough room for
two Batmans?
Supermans. It's on the Bitsy episode. And they called me out on my grammar, which is a real hot button for me.
Call Robin out on grammar, guys.
And they said it should be supermen, not supermans. And I responded kindly and said, I think normally you're right if it's in a different situation, but Superman is his name. So, it'd be like if your last name was Goldman, you wouldn't be the Goldmen, you'd be the Goldmans, right? So Superman is his name. You can't make it Superman. It would change the meaning entirely. So that was my argument, or it is my argument. And I don't know, haven't heard back. So, actually, no, I did hear back. This is the frustrating part, Jeph. I said that and they said something like, I'd still say Batman over Batman or something like that.
Honestly, they said that they'd still say Batman over Batmans.
Yeah.
Honestly, that makes zero sense. It's a proper name. It's the reason we capitalize it. It's because it's their name. This is why it's an uninteresting conversation, because we're all in agreement with you. And now this is just us picking on, as
into
a group,
a vacuum
picking
of
on
YouTube.
somebody.
Yeah.
Guys, don't offend them too much. This could be one of our 10 people.
Yeah. Thanks, Robin.
So, thanks, Robin. Next time, we'll talk about his real beef.
Someday.
Don't ever call it my beef again.
Jeph called it your beef. Your beef with a...
My beef again. Ew.
Oh my God. Now we're off the rails. All right, Jeph, you're tired. Go take a nap.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm so excited that you stayed with it this long. Come out, see me this weekend in Chicago or San Antonio. And come back next week for another great guest. But until then, see you next Tuesday. And that's what's up.